After Donald Trump beat Kamala Harris like a drum in November, Democrats needed a reset. They needed to reconnect with the middle of the country, middle America. They needed to reconnect with them, not repel them. And what better way to do that than to carry the torch for a deported illegal alien gangbanger who they want undeported immediately?
Every time we thought it could not get any worse with the Democrats, again and again, they prove us wrong.
I am here in El Salvador with a group of House Democrats advocating for the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
We also had the opportunity to meet with U.S. Embassy officials to express our concerns about the treatment of Kilmar Andre and the hundreds of others who have been illegally imprisoned in El Salvador.
We went to make sure that we could advocate for the release of Abrego Garcia.
In a dramatic rush, four House Democrats, Maxwell Frost, Robert Garcia, Maxine Dexter, and Yasamin Ansari, traveled to El Salvador to check on Mr. Abrego Garcia, who is being held at the CCOT Supermax prison amidst an ongoing legal battle over whether he must be returned.
Now, if you are someone that pays attention, it's easy to understand the Democrats are not working for the American people. If you guys see the Democrats' agenda, it is not for American citizens. Now, the question is, who are they working for? If you guys see everything the Democrats are doing to stop President Trump from doing the work he was elected to do, if you see everything the Democrats are doing to destroy Tesla, an American company that hires over 100,000 people here in America, if you see everything the Democrats are doing to stop Doge, something that's gonna help using the American taxpayers' money more efficiently. If you see everything the Democrats are doing to bring an illegal criminal here in America using the American taxpayers' money, it's hard to not say the Democrats are anti-American.
Congresswoman, thank you very much for being here. We're going to see where this legal process takes this, as I said the other night, and I understand your view on that point. But what was your point in traveling to El Salvador? Senator Van Hollen had just been there.
So to me, there is nothing more American than due process and the rule of law. The fact that Donald Trump is defying a 9-0 Supreme Court order that has said very clearly that the United States government must facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia is extremely, extremely important. And the fact that the president continues to defy that Supreme Court order. To me, this is also a bipartisan issue. We have had a conservative-leaning Supreme Court say that he must be returned, a Reagan-appointed judge say that this should be shocking to every American, and also Joe Rogan, who has said that due process is one of the foundations of our freedom. So I want to make sure that the president abides by the law and actually follows the law.
What can be more American than using the American taxpayers' money to fight for somebody in El Salvador that is not even American, somebody in El Salvador that is not even a green card holder? What is more American than this? While we have American citizens here in the street suffering, what is more American? Come on now. Nonsense.
So just so I understand, I understand your position, but you went to El Salvador because of Joe Rogan, and you think that your trip to El Salvador would somehow deliver due process? And what you think is due process for Mr. Abrego Garcia? Again, you traveled to all the way to El Salvador, and there are obviously huge problems in Arizona right now. There's huge problems still with dealing with smuggling of drugs and individuals and all the carnage that left behind. But you went to El Salvador to basically make a political point. I mean, Van Hollen had just been there and just checked
100%, 1,000%
on the individual in question, and he was okay. You would admit that he was okay, correct?
So we actually went with the lawyer of the family, who was very, very grateful. The family themselves put out a statement to say that they are grateful that we went because they are worried that the president is trying to brush this case under the rug. The president made very clear in the Oval Office he has no plans to follow the Supreme Court. And so we are not going to be the last ones to go to El Salvador and demand that the United States government take action. My constituents asked me to do this. Over the last 2 weeks, there's no issue that we have gotten more calls about, more messages about than this issue, because I represent a very diverse community, and people are concerned that if this can happen to someone without due process, tomorrow it can happen to a U.S. citizen, and that's exactly what the Supreme Court also is concerned about. So we will continue to advocate for this, and we will continue to advocate for the rule of law.
Yeah. I know a little bit about the Supreme Court and how that works there. And, the word facilitate was, well, again, we'll see how this all works out. And I don't know how it's ultimately going to come down. But I am very interested in Democrats caring about due process for illegal aliens. What process do you think is still due an individual who 2 courts found had reasonable belief to believe he had an affiliation with MS-13, who his wife initially said had scratched her and caused a bruising on her body? What process would make you feel like the Constitution and our framers' understanding of it would be fulfilled?
So, Laura, you and I can disagree on, this individual in particular. I'm not here to really advocate for one person. That needs to happen in court. No evidence has actually ever been presented.
You went to El Salvador. Now you're saying it's not about him? Of course it's about him.
Due process.
You went to El Salvador for a political stunt, and now you're saying it's not about him.
It is about this case. Laura, it is about the rule of law. This is a bipartisan issue. It transcends partisan politics. That's why a conservative-leaning Supreme Court has said that Donald Trump must facilitate the return of this individual. This is very dangerous. We are turning into an authoritarian country, and there are Americans from all across the political spectrum who are deeply concerned about this. Again, my office has not received more calls about any other issue since I have been a congresswoman than this one, tariffs being the second one, and the lack of real logical economic policy. But the issue of due process, no, these are the economy.
I would love to see how many calls her office received in order for her to make that decision to go to El Salvador. She just wanted a nice vacation, and she's just using the American taxpayers' money to go eat El Salvador. I've been to El Salvador, but she anyway, man.
On hall the other night, this is the issue.
Yeah. All right,
and the economy is a mess as well, unfortunately, under this administration.
Before we go.
The economy is a mess under this administration. President Trump has not been in office for more than 3 months, barely about 3-4 months. And so that's when the economy is a mess. But in the past 4 years, when President Biden was destroying this country, everything was tranquilo. Everything was doing well. It is, it's hard to listen to these Democrats and take them serious. It's hard. They spent 4 years telling the American people, no, the economy is great. No, the economy is really good. The minute President Trump took office, a week later, oh my God, the economy is horrible. It's like...
Congresswoman, also in Maryland, I know American citizens and crimes committed against them might not be a top priority. It is for this show. An illegal alien from Guatemala was just charged with his girlfriend's murder. In Maryland, same state, of course, Mr. Abrego Garcia is from. She was missing for 2 weeks, mother of 2 young kids. Police found her buried in a forest. Do you know about this story?
Of course not. Of course not.
Do your constituents care about those victims? And do you intend on calling that family, since Maryland residents are obviously a concern in some way, shape, or form for you and all the people of your state?
I am appalled by any violence that takes place in this country. As a former city official, I have a very strong pro-public safety record, and that's why I believe in the rule of law, and that's why this case is so important. I think these questions are a distraction from the main issue, which is that Donald Trump is
How is it a
defying the Supreme Court of the United States, and every American should be concerned about this.
Congresswoman, I know you can't mean that, and I'm not trying to play gotcha here. I know you don't mean that American citizens are distractions.
No,
their victims aren't distractions.
You are changing the subject. Today, we are here to talk about the lack of due process for an individual who was illegally deported from this country. That is the subject of this interview.
Have not.
Let me clarify for you guys. For an individual that came to this country illegally and he was deported, that's one. Number two, that individual, there are strong evidence that suggests this individual is part of a gang. Now let's assume, guys, let's assume this person is actually not part of a gang. This happens. Collateral damages happen. So now for you to say the best thing you can do is to take the American taxpayers' money to go El Salvador and protest for an individual that is not even U.S. citizen, it's like, who electing these people? Who electing these people?
Any other act of violence.
But Congresswoman, I'm
Any
giving
other
you
act
just
of
so
violence is
everyone
deeply
understands.
appalling.
Yeah, well, the violence committed by illegal immigrants against innocent Americans and legal immigrants has been appalling.
It is devastating.
Absolutely appalling.
Any
and I
violence-
wish there
any
was
violence
one
against
moment
anyone
where
in this
Democrats
country is
acted like they
appalling.
cared about that. Well,
We
apparently it's all
absolutely do
collateral
care
damage
about
to
that, Laura,
Democrats
but
who
right now
sat
we are
by with the
worried
open
about-
border.
So you want to talk about the process, but when President Biden left the border open for 4 years, there was no issues, right? What about the due process to actually get to this country legally, right? When they are using the American taxpayers' money to take care of illegal migrants, to take care of criminal migrants, you had no issues with that, right? But now you want to talk about the process. No wonder why the Democrats have a problem with President Trump. It's because President Trump actually has something the Democrats do not have. President Trump has a clear message. President Trump has a clear agenda, which is America first. That's simple. Put American citizens first. Put America first. Let's use the American taxpayers' money to take care of American citizens. This is President Trump's message. But the Democrats, they have absolutely no message. The only thing they can do is say how bad President Trump is, how bad Elon Musk is, how bad X, Y, and Z. They have absolutely no message. No wonder right now we have AOC as the leading person to be in the 2028 ticket. Listen, I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I think they should not even have a primary election. Just put AOC in the ticket for 2028 against whoever is gonna be, whether it's gonna be JD Vance or Vivek Ramaswamy. I'm ready for it. Anyway, guys, as usual, thanks for watching. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button, leave a message, leave a comment, let me know what you think as I continue to grow this page and call out all these nonsense, rubbish ideologies from the Democrats. Stay blessed. I see you in a different video.